Welcome to episode 6 of the Mile 20 podcast, where epic shit happens. I'm Lorri, and I'm here with my best friend, Laura.
Hello.
And today we are going to be touching on Heartbreak Hill, music faux pas,
Big faux pas,
and forging families.
Yay.
Discussing our Mile 20 beverage of the week, our epic week updates, and running the Boston Marathon.
Yes.
Shipping up to Boston.
Shipping up to Boston. This is the big one.
We also would like to know that you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Mile 20 Podcast. If you click on the links there, you can see all the platforms where we stream. So please hit like, follow, subscribe, whatever it is. We'd love to see it. And if you ever have a message for us, we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah. If you have comments
questions
about, what we're talking about, any questions, send them our way.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you.
Definitely.
So, Lorri, what you drinking tonight?
Oh, what am I drinking? So our theme has been trying to recapture some of the things that we drank right along the way. God help us.
Yeah.
And, so we had a picture of us on the course on the Boston Marathon. And I know you're going to go into your drink, and your drink was very proudly right out in the middle of the picture. Mine was a little obscured because my hand was around the bottle. So I did a little bit of research, and I figured out that I was drinking Omission gluten-free beer.
I remember that.
And so I tried to go and find Omission beer, but they don't make it anymore.
Really?
They stopped making it in 2022.
Why?
Now,
I would think there would be such a market for it.
now, you know that I'm not a big beer drinker.
Yeah.
I mean, anytime you see me drink beer, what is it?
Guinness.
It's Guinness.
Yeah.
So, pale ales, I used to like them when I was younger before I knew I had a gluten allergy, but they upset the tummy a little bit. So I obviously cannot drink an Omission beer tonight because I couldn't find one. So I have a nice substitute. It's Yard's Pale Ale. It's a Philadelphia beer, and it's a pale ale. I figured the Omission was a pale ale, so I'm drinking a beer tonight. How about you?
I am drinking what I was drinking on the course, and I looked at my ABV of this beverage, and I'm a little shocked, but
I was impressed.
I drink and I know things. I am drinking the Victory Golden Monkey. That is, at Mile 20, I drank a 9.5% beer. Oh
That's hardcore. And where is Victory from?
Victory is our local brewery here in Downingtown. So
Hoorah.
We love them. Victory has just great brews all around, and even the place right in Downingtown.
Yes,
it's got great food,
and you can get growlers,
great
and
ambiance. It's just a nice place to visit if you're
good
ever in
point. I totally agree.
If you're ever in the Philadelphia area.
So cheers, my friend. Cheers to Boston.
Here's to Boston.
Oh man, I haven't had a beer in a long time.
I wonder why at first sip everything was so warm going down. It's because it's a high alcohol content. Good grief. So Laura, how was your weekend or week? Tell us what you been up to.
Yeah. So last week I mentioned that it was our daughter Maddie's birthday on this past Monday, and we did do Topgolf.
Nice.
Yes, and so we did Topgolf in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania, and it was neat. They had heaters for us.
So you were comfortable the whole time?
Totally comfortable. In fact,
really?
In fact, at some point in time, Jim had to kind of step away from the heater. He was like, "I'm on fire. This is way too much for me." But yeah, it was neat. And Maddie and her husband Matthew, they really aren't golfers, so it was nice to kind of explore something that was new, for both of them.
Yeah.
And I guess Maddie had kind of given Matthew a little bit of a heads up that like, hey, my mom can hit a golf ball. So the first shot I get up there and that thing freaking like soared. There wasn't any wind, so it wasn't like I had a good like tailwind and it carried it or anything.
Oh, you're lucky because we've had some wind.
Yeah. But it was just it was just the four of us, and we had dinner, there, and it was just a really, really fun event. And it's nice to do something new.
Yeah.
that you don't normally do. And then we had another birthday. So this past weekend, we celebrated my brother-in-law Keith's 60th birthday.
Oh, happy birthday, Keith.
Although now he says he's like Benjamin Button, and he's just going to reverse age. So nobody is allowed to celebrate his 61st, 62nd, 70th birthday in the future. It's all going to be backwards.
Okay, so he's going to be like 55. He'll celebrate his 50th birthday again.
Yeah.
Good
At
for
some
him.
point in time, we will. But my sister Megan planned a little surprise dinner with just the family, and we went to La Sponda in Downingtown, and it was nice. He was surprised.
How's the food there?
It was good. It was good. It's a Italian food. But I had this incredible fish dinner and just really nice gluten-free options for me. But everybody else had pasta and eggplant rollatini and stuff like that. So
Sounds good.
yeah, it was excellent food, and the service was fantastic.
Oh, great.
And most importantly, Keith was surprised. So that was the most important thing.
So he had a good time.
We had some good family love. Yeah, so it's nice having a couple birthdays in the same week. How about you?
Not much really during the week. It's kind of same old, but yesterday I had fun. I had my friend Barb and I there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You guys are killing it.
There is a trail in the Philadelphia area that starts at a National Historic Park of Valley Forge. It's called the Horseshoe Trail that starts in Valley Forge. It is 140 miles.
Whoa.
And Barb and I started sectioning it in 2020.
Yeah, because I did a section
during
with you guys a
COVID.
long time ago.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
In
In
the
the snow.
snow.
Yeah. That was fun.
That was a lot of fun.
That was a lot of fun. But she travels a lot because she's like an intrepid explorer. She's got a camper van and can work while she's on the move.
A nomad lady.
Yeah, she
Yes.
is. So she's traveling, and then I like to travel, and then sometimes we offset with our traveling, so we're never around each other. And then we don't love hiking in the summer because of the bugs and the views aren't as good. So anyway, long story short. There's 10 maps of the 140 miles. We're in the middle of map 8, and we did a section yesterday that brought us into Hershey, PA.
Oh wow.
It was not the greatest section. It was a lot of road walking. However, after we got done hiking, we went to Rising Sun Bar and Kitchen, which is like, at first, when we were driving up, it looks like just like a local kind of dive bar in a town type of thing. You go in this thing, and it was packed. Well, it was Sunday, but it was packed. The bar was full. It was beautiful. Like, the decor was beautiful. It was in an old colonial, like, type building,
Oh, wow.
but they took out.
It was in Hershey?
It was in Hershey.
Okay.
They took out. They kept the beams for the second floor, but took out the flooring, so you had a 2-story effect.
Oh,
but
nice.
the beams kind of made it feel intimate.
Yeah.
But it was very lofty, and it was brick. And the food, I got a fish taco. It was so good.
Oh, I love a fish
It
taco.
was so good. And then last night, we had a birthday party or sharing birthday parties for 2 of my nieces. And then, that was about it. And then,
well, what did we do yesterday morning with
oh,
Julie?
yeah. Well, before all of that, Laura and I, for the last year, really, like, we finished the 50 states in December of 2023 and kind of went blah, 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 with our
like,
long distance running.
We took a break, and then I got consumed by Maddie's wedding and bridal shower and house projects and so
all
forth.
of that.
So,
and then we kind of started training, and then injuries started popping up for marathons
broke my
in the
ankle
fall. Yeah. So then we wound up deferring. So we really haven't been running much.
it's our first time in a long time we did not do a marathon in a year.
In a year.
Yes.
Oh, I
yeah.
haven't done, that's the first time since 2010 I haven't done a marathon.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. About the same.
So I'm a little squirrely.
Yes. Yeah. So what did we do on Sunday morning?
We ran 5 miles.
We ran 5 miles. It was like finding my church again. I was very happy all day yesterday.
It was wonderful.
Yeah. It was that was. I was just really, really happy. Like, that I kind of got over that mental hump, and
you didn't have any lingering pains today,
nothing,
right?
No pains, no nothing. So we are golden. We are golden, girl. Yep. Yeah, because we're going to be running the Broad Street run in Philadelphia at the beginning of May on my birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that'll be fun.
That is fun.
So we got to train for that.
And fundraise.
Yes.
I had a fundraising bib.
Yeah. Well, we're going to talk about fundraising in a little bit, so
That's
you can't complain
true.
about your fundraising.
My $500 fundraising. Yeah. All right. So Boston, should we start diving in?
Yeah, go, girl. You start, and we will banter back and forth here because there's so much to talk about Boston.
Yeah. So it was actually the fall of 2016. My husband does some consulting work. We have a little bit of a boutique consulting firm that he is CEO of, I think is his official title, but it's his baby. He started it. And he, through businesses, he knows a bunch of people. And it turns out that there was somebody that he knew somebody who was with John Hancock. And he was like, hey, I think Dave is very sweet. He likes to brag about me. Like, oh, my wife is running a marathon in all 50 states, blah, blah, blah. And somehow he's like, I think I can get your wife a bib through John Hancock to run the Boston Marathon. So some of the things that make the Boston Marathon special, let's just sidebar this, is the fact that it is extremely competitive to get into. Mm-hmm. There is qualification times.
Like fast people run Boston.
Yeah. So at 51 years old, for me, I would have to run a 3-hour, 50-minute marathon. Sub.
I'm sorry. Did you say 3 hours?
3 hours and 50 minutes. Sub that, because even if you get a Boston qualifying time, depending how many people in your age group qualify, they only take the fastest people. So you could qualify.
And then not run it.
And not be able to register because there were faster people in your age group that year.
Yeah.
So it is really, really hard to get into the
I
Boston
never thought in a million years that we would run Boston.
Well, Boston was the only one I wanted to run in Massachusetts. And full disclosure, my fastest marathon was 4 hours and 46 minutes. And I remember the soul searching I was doing right after that. Like, if I toned in my diet and I lost a little weight and I really trained, could I really drop an hour and 5 minutes? And I'm like, I don't think I'm that talented. So fast forward, I could get a bib through John Hancock, and through emails and stuff, I find out that this is possible. But I was not able to get 2 bibs. I was able to get
one
bib.
One bib.
One bib.
And then the bitch calls me. No, you texted me. Did you text me or call me?
I don't remember.
I think you texted me. I was at the grocery store, and I get this text from Lorri that says, "Oh my God, I just got a VIP bib for Boston." And I read and reread that text message. And I'm like, motherfucker. Because I'm like, friends don't let friends run Boston by themselves.
Oh, God, no.
So kind of like you'll get the mantra here. I'm constantly like right on Lori's like coattails. Like, how can I get in this experience? How can I not let her do Boston by herself? We have to do this together. And I researched a ton of different ways to go and get in. And
you tried with leukemia.
Leukemia
team and training.
Right?
Like
because I had fundraised for them, and I got a want on that. American Cancer Society, thank goodness they had slots available for me to go and take one, and I had to raise at a minimum $11,500.
That is insane.
To go and be able to earn my bib. So the deal with that is
insane.
Is that if I didn't go and raise that amount, I had to cover my minimum fundraising amount, and then also all my registration and whatnot. So like no pressure, but that was like probably the most expensive race I've had. Like a lot of pressure to make sure I got the bib. So, but I did.
You did.
Yeah. Yep. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. But then we got the VIP experience, right?
We did. Yeah, they were able to, because I emailed the contact at John Hancock, and I was like, hey, It's my trail wife. We run every marathon together. She has a bib, but we really want to start and run together.
Right.
Like, how can we make this happen? Because it's so big and there's different waves and different ways to get to the start.
Over 27,000 people ran the race the year that we did it.
So like it gets hard to connect with people when you're in situations like that. And they were able, she's like, hold on, I think I can get her at least the VIP experience, if not the bib, since not the bib. So
then I loved you again.
Yeah. So it was a nice experience. I mean, John Hancock really laid it. I know it's Bank of America now, but they really laid it out.
It was
like
beautiful.
We had a coach, a police escort
bus, yes.
to the start.
Yes.
The bus drops you in Hopkinton.
Yes.
So the course is a linear course. So you drive way out to the burbs.
26.2 miles out.
To be exact.
To be exact.
And they drop you and you run back to Boston. But when they dropped us off, we were able to hang out in the cafeteria.
Yes.
And I feel like it was warm that morning, even though it was I feel like we were looking at people outside going, that looks miserable.
Yeah.
I think people were it was really sunny and people were trying to find a shade. Yeah.
Yeah. They had some tents set up, but
people were crowded.
Yeah. Yeah, there definitely was not enough. I mean, with that many people congregating at one point. But I do remember when we were sitting in the cafeteria. I mean, we were sitting on the floor, and we were so afraid to go and use our phones, like overuse our phones, because we wanted to ensure that we had battery life.
Oh yeah, because we had to get picked up on the bus at 6 a.m. in the morning to be shipped out, but our start time wasn't until 11:15 a.m.
Yeah. And so we get into a routine when you have a race that's maybe at 6:30 to 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. You have some, whatever it is that you eat right before a race, and then you go race. Well, we woke up and we had some food.
Yeah.
And then
like
we're
we had to have
sitting there.
breakfast.
We're like, shit, do we eat like lunch? Like we were so like off in terms of, like our routine.
Yeah.
And I just remember it was like watching water boil sitting in that. But I was very grateful to have had like overhead cover and, the people were very, very
air
nice in there that we interacted
or
with.
Heat, whatever it was at the time.
Yeah. But at least, we had a place to sit and it was
had
comfortable.
water and food and everything. It was great.
Yes. Very positive experience. So the Boston Marathon, oddly enough, it is held on a Monday.
Yeah, Patriots Day.
Right. Yeah. So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So it started. Well, it's the oldest marathon
in the world.
In the world.
In the world. Yeah.
Longest running. It started in 1897. I believe Patriots Day was established to commemorate the Battle of Lexington and Concord, which was the beginning of the American Revolution.
Yes.
And the original Boston Marathon course was the original ride of Paul Revere. Which is really cool. Just the history of it alone is super cool.
It is. And we ran it. He was on a horse. Like,
right.
What a slacker.
I know, right?
And and so we ran it on April 17th, 2017. So I said earlier, had like over 27,000 people who actually ran the race. And the other cool thing, while we're talking like dates and times, it was the 50th anniversary of Catherine Switzer running the Boston Marathon, being a registered and a runner that completed the marathon as a woman.
Yeah, she was registered as what, KV Switzer,
yes,
I believe?
Yes, because at the time in 1967, when she registered and ran her first Boston Marathon, women were not allowed to run marathons or to run the Boston Marathon because, we might hurt our little bodies and
we're so
forth. We're so delicate. And And so Catherine ran the marathon with her boyfriend at the time, a couple other people that she knew. And there's an iconic picture of her running in a let's call it a growlfit. It was a gray sweatshirt, gray sweatpants. And the race director was ran across the runners and was grabbing at her to pull her off of the course.
Yeah.
And the folks that were with her, kind of blocked her, and she finished the race. And it was one of those iconic moments because, fast forward when we ran Boston, number 261, right? So that's the number that she wore in her first marathon. Nobody else can have that number in the Boston Marathon. I just got goosebumps like thinking about that. It's just, she really paved the way for us.
Which now, most of the fields that run marathons, I think almost over 50% are women now.
Yes.
That are running marathons, which I think is amazing how that has evolved over 50 years.
Over 50 years. And man, could you imagine being Catherine Switzer and just looking out? I mean, you want to talk about a pioneer, right?
Yeah.
And starting a revolution.
Yeah.
And really just paving the way for us. I had the opportunity, if you remember.
I do.
I was at a conference for work in New York City, and she was one of the guest speakers. They had a panel of a bunch of, athletic women, professional women, and she was one of them. I got the balls enough to go and get up to a microphone and ask a question. Or it was more like I was telling her that, she's my role model.
Yeah.
And as I'm talking, me, I'm not super emotional.
No.
But dude, I started getting all verklempt. So I'm talking to Catherine Switzer, and she's looking at me and she's acknowledging me. And she says, after we're done, let's meet at the back of the thing. And I was like, oh my God.
From that meeting, I got a signed book by Catherine Switzer.
And you know what, Laura? She just a wonderful woman. And I thanked her. I thanked her for, just paving the way for enabling me to do this, for enabling you to be able to do this. And so I thought that was pretty. And our daughters as well.
Yes.
And then hopefully, generations to come, within our families. So that was a good moment.
We got blessed because it was the 50th anniversary in 2017.
It was.
That she graced 261 on the course with us. I wish we could say that we saw her out there.
We did not see her, but there were a ton of 261 signs everywhere along the course.
Yeah.
And again, you felt that privilege of being able to run that day, knowing that she paved the way. Yes.
Yeah, that was so cool.
Yep. So very, very iconic moment. So let's talk a little bit about the course. I mean, you mentioned earlier that it's kind of like a straight shot, almost, through all of the towns that are to the west of Boston. Can't go east of Boston because it's kind of like you're in the ocean. But I know you're going to kind of read through a couple of the towns, right?
I'm going to cheat a little bit.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
So
it's okay. It's a lot of towns.
Yeah, it starts in Hopkinton. Then you go through at mile 3, Ashland. Mile 6 is Framingham. Mile 10 is Natick. The halfway point is Wellesley. I don't even know. What is it? Wesley. It's not. I always heard it.
Wellesley?
Yeah.
Oh, people in Boston are going to pillage us. If you're from Boston and you're watching,
please let us know.
Or listening to the podcast phonetically, let us know how we're supposed to say that one.
At mile 18 is Newton. And then you start into, so they say that the beginning of the course, is flat-ish, but then you start kind of coming into some elevation leading up to at mile 20, between 20 and 21 is the infamous Heartbreak Hill.
Mile 20.
Yep. Mile 20, which our family was lovely and waiting for our beer bitches.
Oh, that was so awesome.
waiting for us on the course at the top of Heartbreak Hill. It was a beautiful placement.
Do you remember when, and I don't think we had hit the top of Heartbreak Hill, but it got really hot. It was in the 70s, right, when we finished the race, which is unusual for April. But do you remember the popsicles that we got? Oh my God! Somebody was handing out popsicles, like ice popsicles, and you get one of those on the course, and that person's like an angel, absolute angel.
Yes. On a hot day, there's nothing better than a very cold popsicle, especially fruity.
Totally agree. And Heartbreak Hill is one of those really funky hills where you think you hit the top of it, and then you didn't.
Well, even
right?
still, I feel like there was a hill before Heartbreak Hill.
Yeah, we were like, is that
big.
it? That was nothing. And then we're like, oh.
Oh yeah, no, this is it. And plus, they have signs like you're at the top of Heartbreak Hill once you're finally there. But we did question, I feel like, a hill beforehand.
We did.
Like, was that it?
We did. We did. We were like, that was kind of like,
Yeah, but towards the end of the race, it starts to get like a little hillier.
Yes.
And then you hit like the Brookline and Coolidge Corner section, which I love this section of the city because
I agree.
My cousin Mike actually lived on Coolidge Corner.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I don't think we ever talked about that.
Yeah, it was just super cool because I was like, oh, my cousin Mike lived here as we were running by.
Oh, that's cool.
That's at mile 23-24. And then you take your right on Hereford and your left on Boylston. They're really like almost your only turns practically.
Yeah.
And they're right at the end of the race. Like when you make that right, it's a block, and then you make a left, and the finish line is there, and the crowds are there. And
the crowds
were insane.
They were insane, and
it's probably one of the best spectated
it
races in the country.
And I think second to that is New York City.
I think barely second.
Yes, barely second.
I'm going to say
yes.
that may be a hot take on that.
Yes, but I do agree.
Very, very, very,
but
very
man,
close.
The crowds. I mean, because we are way back at the Packers.
Yeah,
and there were people like still, as spectators, and there were like multiple people deep, especially at the finish line area.
Yeah.
And do you remember making that final left on Boylston, and the two of us saw the finish line, and we both just started like just bawling.
Yeah.
It was just, and I remember coming across the finish line, and one, like, just kind of as we were going through the whole experience together, still being in awe that we were running Boston, because Boston as a runner is like, it's like the race. Right?
I would almost say it's the race in the world.
In the world.
People come from all over.
Yeah.
Like the gentleman.
Oh, yeah. There was one guy from like Brazil. Remember? And he had a blast, that guy.
He had clearly qualified. Not that I should say that, but his frame suggests the man could run.
Yes.
Okay. There was nothing, like he was wearing like a track outfit. Like he looked like the man could run.
But he was running in the back with us, and he was hugging people and giving high fives.
He had his flag. He had his flag.
He was just enjoying the journey.
He was taking in every second of running Boston. He clearly didn't care about his time that day.
Yeah.
He just wanted to absorb all of it. And I'm like, I love that guy.
Yeah.
Like that's what you work for.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah. No, it was that was solid. And
yeah.
And when we came across the finish line, I just remember we got our medals, and we just hugged each other and just cried it out. Like, I mean, and it was like for a couple minutes.
Yeah.
Because we had just finished Boston. We can wear these shirts now. And so for those who are not seeing us on video, we have the traditional Boston Marathon, our shirts that we received. They're like bright yellow, kind of like a canary yellow.
But they're flattering.
Oh, no, they are.
Way.
They are.
Yeah.
A long sleeve with, some blue kind of racing stripes down the side. Was it Adidas or Adidas, whatever how they call it.
Whatever the kids call it these days.
Kids call it. With the unicorn, emblem, across the back shoulders. And, it's just, I don't know, it's just something, it's kind of like a pride thing,
Absolutely.
As a runner,
yeah.
because it's just that race.
It is. And I think it's interesting. Maybe we should dabble into this topic just for a minute since we're here. Like, I don't wear this a lot, but I don't feel any less proud.
Yeah.
Because I didn't qualify. I think that there are a lot of people that feel like they can't run Boston because they have to qualify for it, and they wouldn't want to do it any other way. And after experiencing the other side of it, I say that's bullshit.
I totally agree.
That's bullshit.
It's a race. It's a race, and you still run at 26.2 miles.
There are thousands of people that do
what we did.
VIP bibs. They fundraise. It has a 6 hour and 30 minute cutoff. I was about to say 30 seconds. I don't know why. That says me 6 hours and 30 seconds.
It's kind of exact.
Yeah, 6 hours and 30-minute cutoff. So really, I mean, not everybody is running their Boston qualifying time. It's okay. It's okay to find another way to Boston. It is. I'm not a fraud because I didn't qualify.
Right.
I can wear the gear with pride. I got the same medal that the dude going in at 25th got, just like I did any other race I ran.
Yep.
So don't shoot yourself in the foot and say, I'm never going to run Boston because I can't qualify. It's bullshit. Now, maybe you don't want to raise $11,500. That's justifiable. Okay, I will allow that.
That was
excuse.
really hard too, by the way.
I remember you were selling shit.
I was selling shit.
Everything. She's like, I got a lamp. She was on Facebook Marketplace selling everything.
I was like, I'm cleaning out my basement, man. I'm just selling stuff. I'm just donating all the money to my American Cancer Society. So,
surprised there was any furniture left in the house.
Hey, okay, got cleaned out my basement.
Anyway, back to the course. I took a sidebar.
Yeah.
That was a long way around. But the course was great. But I do remember it getting really hilly. And I remember what was one of your favorite moments during the marathon?
I loved when we came down one of the hills, and I don't remember what town we were in or what towns we were in between, but it was earlier in the race. And
I think it was near Framingham.
Was it near Framingham?
I
Where
think so.
It was the biker bar.
Yeah.
And so you come down this huge hill, and there is a biker bar like to the left, on the left-hand side. And there were patrons. I'm assuming they were patrons.
That had been there for a long time.
That had been there for a really long time.
Really long time.
And they had these huge, huge trucks with speakers that probably if you stood on my shoulders, the speakers were still bigger than the two of us.
Yeah, they were huge.
They were gigantic and multiple speakers. And what song were they playing?
Sweet Caroline.
Ba, ba, ba. Over and over and over. So as we were coming down the hill, that's all that was blasting from these speakers.
And they were screaming it.
They
like
were
still, like it was like
and
it
they
was
were
still
trashed.
7, 8 a.m. in the morning.
We're like, Lorri, we found our people. and man, because when I got a stray hair on my hand. So when we came down the hill, we were singing it. But do you remember then you had to go back up another hill on the other side? But that bar was like right at the bottom of the hill, and singing that song again, going back up the other side, just kind of...
It gave you a little oomph.
Yeah. And then just kind of laughing because they're all like, middle-aged people, like just kind of like...
Like us.
enjoying themselves, watching the marathon and, doing their part, so to speak. But that to me, anytime I hear that song, I think of that. And then, what was it? Was it this on Sunday of that weekend?
Yeah.
We went to the Red Sox game.
Yeah.
And it was on my life bucket list to be at the Wrigley Field because they play Sweet Caroline in the 7th inning.
Yes.
And to me, it was a bucket list item, and we sung Sweet Caroline, during the game. So
that was a fun game.
Yeah. So anytime I hear that song now, I can never not think of Boston when I hear that. How about you? What was a favorite moment?
I think one of my favorite moments was, again, coming down a hill. Mm-hmm. Boston College.
Oh, those people were crazy.
The students of Boston College were out.
They were out
in full force. I don't know how long. I don't know how much they had to drink.
They were drinking for a while,
but
man.
But they were out. And I just remember running down the whole line, high-fiving everybody. The energy I got from Boston College. I'm like, this place rocks. I love this school.
Yeah, you went and high-fived everybody because you had kind of run over there. I high-fived a couple of people. You were high-fiving like every single person. And then after we were done, I was like, dude, you need to wash your hands. College students, who knows where they have been.
Yeah.
But yeah, they definitely brought it. I really liked that section because there were a couple of colleges that were in that area, but the Boston College kids really showed up for the runners. I enjoyed that.
I think I got so excited on some of these downhills. I vividly remember that towards probably the last. And this is just a warning if and when you do run Boston, to take it a little easy on those downhills, because I think I was so excited running down those hills. My quads were on fire. I mean, I kept complaining.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah, and I also remember with the quads, we were taking some stairs to go down. I think we were taking like a trolley or a subway or something, right? To get back to our hotel. And I remember like all of us having a tough time going down the stairs because of those hills.
Yes.
Yeah. Stairs are not your friend when you have a very hilly course after a race.
And you know what? I felt like we knew we were running Boston.
Yeah.
We were doing hill repeats.
We were doing, and in our area,
it's
right
hilly.
outside of Philadelphia, it is very hilly. So we did a lot of hill preparation. But again, I think what you were talking about earlier, where you get the momentum of the crowd, and I think one of the downhills was like with the Boston College kids,
yes.
and you were running down the hill like all excited about it. And it was like, oh my God, So I remember as a kid, when you run downhill, it just seems easy. But after you've probably put in about, 16, 17 miles on your body and you're going downhill, it's like, you might want to take it a little easier.
I did not.
Yeah.
I paid the price at the end of that one.
Yeah.
It was a little painful. So word to the wise, slow down, take it easy.
Yes.
You don't have to race down those hills.
Yes.
All those people are still going to be there to high five you.
I agree. All right. Let's talk about how we got to Boston.
Oh, that was actually pretty cool. I don't remember whether it was you being anal or me being anal, but I'm like, we're going to leave at 5 a.m.
That was you.
That was me.
That was you. Yeah.
We're leaving at 5 a.m. because I'm like, I don't want to deal. Like, when you leave from the Philadelphia area,
which is south of Boston,
you have to go through New York
and Connecticut.
And Connecticut is an absolutely lovely state. I love Connecticut.
It's a shithole for traffic, though.
I fucking hate driving through Connecticut.
It's a shithole for traffic. Yeah.
Always stuck in traffic.
Love people from Connecticut, but it's a shithole for traffic.
Always in Connecticut.
Yep.
Anyway,
agreed.
I'm like, let's leave at 5 a.m. It was perfect.
Like we sailed, and Maggie rode in the car with me. We did car karaoke almost the entire way up. She introduced me to some music. I introduced her to Meatloaf, yes. Paradise by the Dashboard Light. So I feel like that was my second mom moment with her.
Thank you. She needed some education, and clearly I totally dropped the ball on that one.
Because you had Egla and DJ in the car with you. And Dave. Mm-hmm. And then Jim and Maddie met us later on up in Boston. So they did not come up on the Friday. I think they met up with us on Saturday.
Yeah. And then we had an extra bonus.
Extra bonus?
Yes, because one of my friends from Ocala had qualified. Tina and her husband Matt.
Tina's a badass runner.
Yeah, so it was the first time you met Tina.
Yes, Tina and Matt.
Yeah, but Tina and Matt had we were friends. Our boys were really good friends when they were little, and I don't know. I just love them. They just, they were our couple friend from Ocala that we really stayed connected with.
Super
yes.
fun.
And Tina had qualified to run for Boston, but she had then injured her foot.
Yes.
So we were able to connect with her on the course, but she hung out with us that weekend.
Oh, they totally hung out with us the entire weekend.
They had their son Dawson and their daughter Morgan with them for that trip, which is wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah. And the cool thing, and you'll hear more stories about Tina and Matt.
And we're going to try and get Tina on at some point.
At some point in time, we got to get Tina on.
I haven't asked her yet
because we've gone on now numerous hiking trips, with them, and they were just here in the Pennsylvania, Maryland area, over last summer. We were hanging out, so we're trying to figure out how to connect, this year. But so we've it was our first time meeting them, but it's been great because we've all forged now a friendship like all together, which I absolutely love. So yeah.
It is fun.
Yeah. All right. So we drove up there. So it took us like 5+ hours to get up there.
Yeah, but
right?
we rolled into Boston at 10:30. So
did.
like the beauty of where we live is that you're like 2.5 hours from DC, maybe 3, 2 hours from Baltimore, 2 hours from the beach, 2 hours from mountains, 2 hours from New York. So like we're so centrally located that it's so cool to know that you can just get up in the morning and be in Boston by lunchtime.
Yeah.
In a car.
Yeah.
Depending on traffic.
Yes, depending.
But leaving at 5 a.m., we had zero traffic. We got no New York traffic, no Connecticut traffic, no Boston traffic because it was over by the time we got there.
Yeah, no, it was clean sailing, and we ended up staying at the Boston Marriott Long Wharf, which is right on the water.
Yeah.
So when you think about where the Logan Airport is right across the water. From the airport. So, I liked staying there because it was within easy walking distance to a lot of the historical sites, to some fantastic, really iconic restaurants.
Yeah.
But it was also kind of pricey. So
it was pricey.
Yeah. So I think that, if you're even going to visit Boston, again, you know me, I'm a Marriott gal, so I would probably stay there again just because of the proximity, but that's what you're paying for.
But, I think sidebar, not sidebar, but after being there and we've visited Boston a few times.
Yes.
I actually think I would stay at the Liberty where the Alibi is.
Oh yeah, yes.
Because it's another Marriott. No,
it's a Marriott property now. It is now.
Property.
It is now. It wasn't when we went there.
Yeah.
Yes,
it's a Marriott property.
So that
and
used to
cool.
be. It used to be a prison.
Yeah,
and they have converted the prison into a hotel. And my husband Jim stayed there for work one time. And then we ended up staying there. So, we were a repeat guest.
Yes.
And then when we were there that weekend, you just mentioned the Alibi. So they have a bar that has still all of the jail cell doors.
Yeah.
And you sit in the bar and you're basically like, wow, this was like somebody was confined in this space.
Yeah, it was built in 1851. It was the Charles Street Jail.
Yeah.
I just think it's so cool. When we went back,
it still looks like a jail on the outside.
Yeah, like when we went back for Maggie was looking at a bunch of colleges and I made DJ come along because he's only a year behind her. We were touring all the colleges in Boston. I'm like, I wasn't going to stay at the Long Wharf. I'm like, I want to stay at the Liberty. That's where I want to stay.
Yeah. And I think that's where Maddie and I stayed when we were going and looking at colleges in Boston for her.
And I think the Liberty's a little pricey too, but it's got a little bit more interior swag with all the history of the property.
It is. And you overlook, there's a university that's close by there. And I can't remember which college is very close by there, but there's a college close by because there were a lot of college students around, and I remember that.
Yeah,
so I was like, Maddie, are we looking at that college? Like we were looking at so many damn.
It's a great bar, though.
It was a really, really great bar. Yeah, so we took the kids to the Alibi bar.
Well, I know it happened.
But we had food. It was a restaurant bar area.
Yeah, we had stopped for snacks.
Yeah. So
and adult beverages.
Over the weekends, because we got there on, like you said, like around noon on Friday.
Yeah.
So
I think we went to Quincy Market for lunch.
We did, because didn't we did our packet pickups on Friday as well, right?
Yeah, because we were very anal, you and I.
Yes.
Do you remember how we thought? I was like, okay, when we approach our swag, I don't usually buy a lot because we know we're running a lot of marathons in life. I looked at my husband and I said, please forgive me. I'm dropping change today on Boston gear. Like, I'm not leaving here with anything that I'm not passing up anything that I want today.
Yeah. So you have to buy the Boston Marathon jacket.
The jacket.
They give you these we bought.
Are you sure? No, this is the giveaway.
Well, we got one that said John Hancock across the front.
That was
too.
the John Hancock one. We got swag through the VIP bibs. You got the swag too.
I did. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That makes more sense of why John Hancock was so big on.
And they
on
had
the
little tick jacket thing that they sent us to.
Yes.
That was really nice.
Yeah, I didn't keep that.
I didn't keep it either. But it was nice. The thought was really nice.
After you run so many races, you get to the point where you just can't keep it all, and you have to start picking out your favorites.
Yeah.
So
No, but this was the giveaway.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, but I bought a ton of stuff too.
Yeah.
A ton.
But
of
we
stuff.
were very anal. Like, we have to get there on Friday because we don't want them to sell out of anything.
Right.
We want to make sure they have our size.
That's right.
So we
'Cause
were
that happens.
very.
That happens like the second day of a big marathon.
Yeah, we wanted to get
Yes.
in there early
Yes.
to get our swag. But before we went there, we went to Quincy. What did you get at Quincy Market to eat?
I don't remember.
You don't remember?
No, because I couldn't get what you guys got, but what you
Yes.
got was really awesome.
Yeah. So we went to Wicked Lobster and got the hot buttered lobster rolls, which I
It
know
looks delicious.
I know that there are different philosophies on lobster rolls, but I am definitely a hot buttered girl. Like, that's just pretty much like lobster, butter, and bread.
Yeah.
Like, yes.
Yes.
Yes, please. That is like every time I go to Boston, I gotta go to Wicked Lobster.
I mean, it was so warm out too that weekend, and I
was
recall
beautiful.
sitting out in like the tree covered area outside of Quincy Market, and y'all were eating your food. I do not recall because it was not memorable what I was eating, but I remember sitting outside and just really enjoying like the people watching, and just kind of being almost like in the heart of the older Boston area.
Yeah.
And, just the vibe of the city just had some good energy that day. And you could just like, and even when people aren't running the race, like a lot of people go out to go and be part of it and be, the spectators.
Yeah.
It's like their thing,
Yeah.
and the people of Boston are so incredibly proud of that,
Yeah.
as well. So, so it was fun going to Quincy Market, as well. So definitely recommend that.
So I always say, like, I love the cities. There's a lot of cities I love in the U.S. Of course, Philly, our hometown, like, I have an affinity for Philly. But a really, really close second to Philly to me is Boston. Like, Philly, and I think it's the same kind of
It's blue collar
vibe in a way.
Blue collar.
But they held on to a lot of their colonial heritage.
Yes, I agree.
Like, New York, I love New York. New York's great for all that New York is. But New York bulldozed a lot of their colonial heritage.
Yeah, because it built skyscrapers.
Right.
Yeah.
You can't, there isn't like that bricky colonial feel.
Yeah.
Boston and Philly preserved that.
I agree.
And I think because they're similar in that way.
Character.
Yeah. Like, I love Boston.
Yeah.
I just drive with that
Yeah,
city.
and Boston, it's much like Philadelphia. It's very spread out.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of places to see.
Nooks
so
and crannies.
Yeah, a lot of nooks and crannies. So, while we drove into Boston, we really didn't touch our cars like almost the entire time we were there.
Yeah, definitely not.
We walked around and and we're able to go and kind of see things.
Yeah.
By foot. The other thing that I enjoyed, because that Sunday was Easter. So, before we all went to the Red Sox game on Sunday, Jim, Maddie, and I found a restaurant. We did brunch together, the three of us. And afterward, we walked a little bit of the Freedom Trail.
Yeah.
And so that was really neat to go and read, some of the placards and so forth.
So for those of you
Yeah.
who've not been to Boston, the Freedom Trail is really, it's a cool thing that the city of Boston did, that they have a marker, like a line that follows along the sidewalks. It's 2.5 miles. It takes you by pretty much every notable,
yes.
historic place within the city. So it's great because you follow the Freedom Trail,
Yes.
and you can walk it, and it's just a lot of fun.
Yeah. And we hit like some restaurant where they had a Bloody Mary bar.
Ooh.
And I wish I loved Bloody
Me
Marys.
too. I
man.
say that.
I say it, and
I like them in theory.
yeah, but I mean, people like jacked up their Bloody Marys. They had about like 20 different like accoutrements like on their glass and stuff with like big sticks of like thick bacon, and I don't know. I was a little jealous of that, but I don't know. I just can't do a Bloody Mary.
I know. I'm a mimosa girl.
Yeah, it's just not my jam. All right, so what did we do on Saturday? So we did bib pickup.
Yeah.
On Friday, bought a shit ton of stuff, Boston gear. Saturday was fun.
We weren't the only ones that picked up bibs on Friday, though, if you recall.
Oh, yes.
So Ella, my youngest, had been in a phase, which she kind of fell out of a little bit later. But the previous season in 2016, she had started picking up running some 5Ks.
Yes.
And she and my husband were supposed to run the 5K together at Boston. And I can't remember which. My husband sometimes is prone to injury. Which injury? I can't remember what injury he had at the time. I'm sure he would remind me, and I meant to ask him before I came over here today. But he wound up last minute because
he had to bail.
Yes. And Maddie,
my daughter,
took the bib, and the two of them ran. And she didn't even have running shoes with her.
She did not. She ran a 5K in her Converse sneakers.
Oh my God bless her. just to take care of Ella on the 5K.
And Ella was like small at the time. Like, she was young.
Yeah, I mean, she was 10.
Yeah. And so,
or not even.
Yeah.
She was almost 10.
Almost 10.
Yeah.
And I remember Maddie, afterward, because Dave was like, how come you didn't run faster? And Maddie was like, well, there were a lot of dogs along the course, so Ella kind of wanted to count all the dogs, like, as we ran. But I think that was, we talked in the beginning about, like, forging families together.
Yeah.
And this was, like, I think that special time in, like, because we've been sharing that, our friendship had been getting closer, but it was like that first time where our families came together.
And we all kind of clicked.
We all clicked.
Yeah.
Like, just solidly clicked. And it's never changed from that, right?
No.
It's just gotten stronger. I mean, our girls have texts, with each other that we're not on and whatnot. So
our husbands do. We had no idea what they're doing.
Yeah, and it just was one of those weekends where it was like, oh, this is just so awesome, because it's just such a rarity that when you forge a friendship with someone, that
you like all the people that they belong to.
Yeah, and it fully extends beyond them, not just like, oh, I just like you, just don't bring your spouse or your kids with you.
Right. Yeah.
And I loved that. And we all kind of have that really snarky kind of, just have fun in any situation.
Yes.
Kind of scenarios. So so the girls did the 5K
and counted dogs.
And then we went to a very iconic bar in Boston, and it was Cheers, right?
Yes, I think DJ was in a really weird phase. So
it was called a teenager. He was like in the heart of being like a snarky teenager.
Was he 12?
Yeah. Was he a tween? Was he?
No, he's 14.
Oh, he's 14.
Oh my
there's
God.
no excuse then.
He was. No, there was plenty of excuse. It doesn't stop until they leave. I love. DJ has grown up to be an amazing young man.
Such a great young man.
He's a great guy, sweet guy. Like, I love my son, but he went through a phase, as all teenagers
punch him
do.
Every once in a while.
And man, he was in rare form in Boston. He was just poking. But also, I think some of that's because Dawson was there, Tina and Matt's son,
yes.
And we nicknamed them Dumb and Dumber. Because they just have moments, the two of them.
I have a picture of DJ when we were at Cheers, and he was doing the Zoolander face.
Oh, yeah, the blue steel.
Yes, he did the blue steel. We'll have to go and put that on our Facebook page. That's an important one, because that is my memory of DJ as a 14-year-old.
Yes.
Doing the Zoolander picture.
But he was he was kind of in this like weird machoism phase.
Yes.
He was very
I'm too cool for school.
He loved Barney from How I Met Your Mother. And he loved Ted Danson's character, which I can't remember his name, from Cheers, because they were like, into their women.
Yeah.
And I'm like, great. Like, these are the idols you're looking up to right now. But he was like so into Cheers because of Ted Danson's character and how good he was with women. I don't know. It was anyway.
But it was neat. It was neat going to the bar, and it's very touristy. They have a ton of pictures of the cast, from the show, but it was cool going and seeing it. Would you go back there?
No,
me neither. I'm like, it's one of those like one and done kind of scenarios. Yeah,
and it was nice.
Yeah. And the bar was like, it was bar food. It wasn't anything special or memorable, but I'm glad we went and we got to see it.
Yeah, I'm glad too. Yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah. And then so we talked about going to the Red Sox game. on Sunday. So anything memorable from the Red Sox game?
There was a lot that was memorable, but
Yeah.
not a lot I'll mention about it. But yes, I can remember it's Wrigley Field, but it's hard, when you're a Phillies fan.
Yes.
Of course we want to go.
You're like, do I root for the team or like what am I supposed to do right now?
It was just, I felt like it's rare that I feel like a tourist. I felt like a tourist going to a Red Sox game.
Yes.
Because it was a little out of place.
Yeah.
But I decided to cheer on the home team. But, I think the girls all sat together and then the boys all sat together.
Yes.
And there was a lot of beverages that we partook of while we were there.
Yes.
So I think we had a good time.
Yes, we had a good time. And I remember at one point in time, Jim and I leaving the seats, and we met up with one of my former colleagues, Shane Portfolio. So Shane used to work at the same company that I do, and he was running the Boston Marathon and was also a fundraiser for the American Cancer Society.
Oh, wow.
So secretly, I was competing with Shane when
so how much did Shane raise?
I don't remember if I actually beat him in fundraising or not. So at the end of the day, this went to the American Cancer Society, right? So great cause. But I remember getting online every day to go and see what Shane's fundraising dollars were. I think I did, but
how much did you wind up raising?
I don't remember. I want to say it was like $15,000 or something like that. It was. I'm gonna have to go back and look and check because I just cannot remember. But I exceeded the $11,500.
Did you get extra swag from American Cancer Society for doing the fundraising?
I think they gave us a T-shirt.
Gotcha.
So, but
and a bib to Boston.
And a bib to Boston. Yeah. So that was the golden ticket.
Yeah.
But I do remember, doing this little mental competition with Shane, because I had to beat him. All right. So what happened then when we left the Red Sox game? What did we see?
Oh, it was so cool. They were setting up the finish line, which I kind of wanted to see and kind of didn't want to see all at the same time. I kind of wanted it to be fresh the day of, but then I was like, oh, there it is.
They have this awesome decal that goes across the road.
Yes.
And I think we both wanted to at least lay on it.
Yes, I did. I wanted to get a selfie laying on it, but they were just laying it out and it didn't feel appropriate.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I totally forgot. Saturday night. So my cousin's son, Henry, was he was going to the Berklee School of Music in Boston. So I was able to connect with Henry. We went to one of his gigs. He plays a myriad of instruments, but
just phenomenal artist.
I think his favorite, I guess I would say, is a saxophone. And so we got to see him play in a gig at a bar. I couldn't tell you which, but we got to watch him play a gig, and you were there.
Oh, it was so much fun, and I remember just how well he played and how comfortable he was, just with the band that he was playing with, and just the music was great. I also remember sitting on some really skeevy couch. Do you remember?
Yes.
It was like, this couch has seen some action.
Oh, I'm sure.
And it was velvet, but it was kind of crusted velvet. And I was like, just don't even give me a black light right now. I just don't even want to go and see what's on here.
No, but it was awesome.
I totally forgot that we had gone to
because I don't think I've seen him play live any other time. So that was my one and only time that I've seen him play. And now he's out in LA making music, trying to make it big.
Yeah.
Which I hope to God he does, because he's so talented.
Just very, very talented.
Yeah.
Very talented
I can't believe I forgot about that part of it. Jeez.
Yeah. No, so we packed in quite a bit. So, and again, some people before they go to races, will go and just kind of hide out in their hotel room and not do a whole lot. Boston has so much to offer.
So much.
And because we had our kids with us and our families, it was just really important for us to just soak in the entire weekend. And it was all things Boston. And I think because we did that, it just made the whole experience that much more for us.
We definitely filled out that weekend.
We did. We put 1,000 pounds of shit in a 1 pound bag.
We didn't show up on Sunday, pick up our bibs, and run Monday and then leave Tuesday.
No.
We had a full weekend.
We had an entirely full weekend. So we talked a little bit earlier about the shirts and the swag that we had to buy, but the medals are kind of badass.
Love the medals.
Yeah.
Well, the Boston Athletic Association adopted the unicorn in the late 1800s.
Yes.
And they've just carried it ever since. And I think that it's iconic Boston.
It is.
The unicorn.
Yeah. So Lorri talked earlier about people trying to go and qualify for Boston, and you'll hear in running circles, chasing the unicorn.
Yeah.
Trying to go and qualify to get into Boston, which their mascot is the unicorn. So Lorri and I, leading up to Boston, I want to say like every day on Facebook or like in our text messages to each other, it was some kind of like
unicorn,
something about like 10 days to Boston, 9 days to Boston. Our friends were probably ready to kill us, or they silenced us for a bunch of days.
I actually posted something on Facebook that said something like, you can run a marathon and not put it on Facebook.
Yes.
And I was like, not Boston.
Yeah, but not Boston.
Yeah, but they do a nice job with the medals. The unicorn is like the quintessential centerpiece of the medal almost all the time. So it's very Boston. Like, it's just unique.
Yeah.
And is it the biggest medal we have? No. Is it the most ornate? No. But it doesn't matter.
It's Boston.
It's the Boston Marathon, and it's got the unicorn. Yeah. So I love it.
Yeah, and I'll share a funny story. So, I have, much like you do, I have a rack. I have a rack. That's what she said. I have a rack where I store my medals.
I have a rack.
You have a rack. I do not have a rack. Oh, come on. Oh, that hurt. That hurt. My girls feel bad now. But
sorry, that was grossly inappropriate.
No. It's okay.
That's okay. My 9.5% beer.
That would not be the first time you made a comment about my boobs and how small they are. But we both have medal racks where we store all of our race medals.
Yep.
And so my nephew William, this was a couple of years ago, whenever he would come down to the basement, he would love to play with my medals and kind of do like the Mr. T thing, throw all the medals around his neck. Well, one time he was playing with them, and it was after I had run Boston, and I instructed him that under no circumstances are you allowed to touch the unicorn medal.
Ooh. And that's the only one?
It's the only one. He can do like whatever he wants with all the other ones. He is not allowed to take that one off. So when one time Jim was like laying on the ground, and William decided to take all the medals off of the rack and put them all on Jim. And they're heavy, by the way. And so the one medal that was left on the rack was the Boston one, and Jim was like, "Oh, you forgot one," and I remember William going, "Oh no, Aunt Laura won't let me touch that one." So he learns.
Good.
It's like the Boston one's kind of special, Only I'm allowed to touch that one.
Yeah, it is special.
Yeah.
It's good to have that one.
Yeah. So anything else we didn't cover for Boston?
I'm sure there is, and I'll think about it 2 days from now. But
of course.
At this moment, no. I think we're good.
So my question to you is,
yes.
Would you run it again? Would you do it? Would you do it all over again?
Oh, any day.
Yes.
Absolutely. It's
yes.
Boston.
Yes.
I can't say no to Boston. But am I going to raise $11,000? No.
Yeah.
If I stumbled into, will I qualify? No. If I stumble into another VIP bib, but now it's Bank of America, of course.
Yeah.
I will accept your Bank of America bib.
Yes, we would accept Bank of America bibs.
I love Bank of America.
Bank of America is great.
You should do all your banking at Bank of America.
Yeah,
VIP bibs.
Yes, I would do it again. If the right opportunity arose where you got a VIP bib and I had a fundraise again, I'd do it again.
No, you would not.
I've done some crazy shit to go and make sure that we just can't run races by ourselves. But I would definitely go and I would do the whole weekend again the way that we did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And leading into next week a little bit,
yes.
a little bit of a sneak peek.
Yeah.
To add insult to injury, Immediately when I found out that I got the bib to Boston, I had already kind of in the back of my mind knew that there was a program in California with the Big Sur International Marathon called Boston to Big Sur. It's a lottery, and you have to have a Boston bib already. But if you have the Boston bib, you can enter into the lottery to get also a Big Sur bib, which happens 2 weeks later.
Right. Or 13 days for the one that we ran.
And the minute that I secured a VIP bib, I put in for the lottery.
Which she didn't tell me.
Because I didn't think I was going to get it. And then.
Until you got it.
And then I got it. And I'm like, holy shit, dude.
Smalls.
I got into Big Sur.
Yeah.
On the Boston to Big Sur bib. And
yes.
Yeah. I'm sorry, my friend.
And no,
I'm so sorry I caused you stress
it's
in
all
your
good.
life.
And so next week we will talk about the Big Sur Marathon, which we both loved.
Oh, God.
Just that whole 2-week window between running Boston and then Big Sur was just a phenomenal experience. I don't know if you're a runner and you've never done Boston to Big Sur, do the fundraising. If you don't qualify, try to get into Big Sur because man, that was like we were on this like running high.
I actually was nervous moving forward with the 50 states.
Yeah,
because I'm like
where do you go
from
here? Yeah.
Where do you go from here? I've just run 2 of them because I'm going to say this out loud right now. Big Sur, of the ones that I have ran, was hands down the most beautiful course I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And I've run very beautiful courses, but Big Sur, like when people are like, oh, what are your favorites? I'm always like, well, city or like scenery, because they're 2 different things. Maybe Alaska could have rivaled it had our weather been different.
Yeah.
But it didn't, and it wasn't. So it's Big Sur.
Yeah. I would agree. So we are going to dive really deep into Big Sur next week.
Yep.
And talk a little bit more about the whole, how I ended up going and figured out a way to go and follow on your coattails again and get it. You see this, like Lorri gets the easy street and I gotta claw my way into these things or spend a shit ton of money to go and do so for Big Sur. So or raise a shit ton of money. So but we will talk about that next week. So we are super excited that you joined us again this week for episode 6 and go make mile 20 your bitch. We will see you next week.
Peace out.